seems as human beings we fear what we don't understand, and we try to destroy what we fear. In that intolerance, we may destroy the very means of our own salvation. That's a high price to pay. But those that refuse to surrender to the intolerance, those that choose to learn and grow and understand, they also pay a high price. Therein lies the story of the gypsy fire. A child small in the manor hall plays at his father's side, while the minstrel sings the wondrous things that echoed in the child's eyes. A gypsy camp in the moor so damp and dances on a full moon night, of circles cast and ghosts long past, the Lord filled the lad's delight. He warned, beware the camp of the gypsy woman who dances in the pale moonlight. Some have said she's the devil's bride who can steal your soul on sight. The pounding drums and the chanting hums through a night as black as coal. There's a raging fire and a warning dire that echoes through his soul. Yet his heart is drawn to the dark for dawn and the light of the gypsy fire. And then one day in the child's play he strayed into the moor, and followed his ear to the clearing near where he opened up the gypsy's door. She welcomed him to the room so dim, it was filled with smell so sweet. Her voice it rang as she gently sang and danced on two bare feet. Well, the child grew tall, 10 springs and falls, the gypsy his secret friend. Her healing craft she taught the lad, gentle days they spent, sharing its herbs. The moor, it heard them softly sing along. The sky was blue, 6 more springs flew, forgotten was his father's song. That warned, beware the camp of the gypsy woman who dances in the pale moonlight. Some have said she's the devil's bride who can steal your soul on sight. The pounding drums and the chanting hums through a night as black as coal. There's a raging fire and a warning dire that echoes through his soul. Yet his heart is drawn to the dark for dawn and the light of the gypsy fire. In the village fear was always near, like a terrible cancer grew. Year to year and ear to ear their fearful whispers flew. Fear to hate, then anger great, the gypsy woman scorned. In joke and play the townfolk say, in words and song they warn. Beware the camp of the gypsy woman who dances in the pale moonlight. Some have said she's the devil's bride who can steal your soul on sight. The pounding drums and the chanting hums through a night as black as coal. There's a raging fire and a warning dire that echoes through his soul. But his heart is drawn to the dark for dawn and the light of the gypsy fire. The plot thickens. Then one night by the dark moon's light, the Lord from a fever fell. From a vintage bad 'twas a drink he had, but they said 'twas an evil spell. To the gypsy's name they screamed out blame, and to the moor they ran. Their anger churned and torches burned, blood was on their hands. They screamed, beware of the gypsy woman who dances in the pale moonlight. Some have said she's the devil's bride who can steal your soul on sight. The pounding drums and the chanting hums through a night as black as coal. There's a raging fire and a warning dire that echoes through his soul. Yet his heart is drawn to the dark for dawn and the light of the gypsy fire. At his father's side the young man tried the healing arts he knew. In the dark he groped for one last hope, 'twas a plant the gypsy grew. To the moor he went home like the scent of the simple longwort bloom. For the cottage lay in ashes gray, his gentle gypsy gone. Lost inside his sadness, nowhere left to turn, his father's funeral pyre and the gypsy fires burn, driven from the manor by their superstitions fright, an outcast moving slowly in the cold November light. The sunlight shares no comfort, the moors is home tonight. Beware, beware, beware the camp of the gypsy woman who dances in the pale moonlight. Some have said she's a devil's bride who can steal your soul and sight. The pounding drums and the chanting hums through a night as black as coal. There's a raging fire but a warm desire that echoes through his soul. His heart belongs to the dark foredore. He's home by the gypsy fire. Well, this is a set of story tales and folk music, so of course all the stories are absolutely true. To give you an idea of how much care I went to in making sure this was accurate, the longwort plant referred to in the song is actually a plant that is used in healing liver problems. The catch is that it looks pretty much exactly like a hemlock plant, and as Aristotle found out, hemlock is poison, so you want to be really careful when you're deciding, am I picking longwort or hemlock? Anyway, so we press on. This is a story that I made up, but all the places in it are absolutely true, and that Dixie beer actually exists. It's made from the water of the Mississippi River. Yeah, that can be tricky. It's to me, it reminds me of Lone Star. When I moved to Texas a long time ago, somebody had sent a sample of Lone Star beer to the lab, and the lab report came back, so I'm sorry, sir, your horse has diabetes. But anyway, so Sister Sadie is totally made up, but Dixie beer is as bad as they say, and this is absolutely true. Sister Sadie was a Cajun from up north round Baton Rouge. She fell in love with the juke joint man when she heard him sing the blues. He had a voice that rolled like the Mississippi River, rich as a toothpick. And when he saw her smile from the back of the room, the hurricane swept him away. Well, it's a story that's old as the Calcasieu River or a juke joint out on the pier, where the bad boys carry a knife in their boot, and there's plenty of Dixie beer. It's the smell of the swamp and boudin. It's the sound of the Delta blues at the crawfish shack and cockpit, Fred's lounge and the chicken coop. Well, that hurricane rolled across the Poncho train, and from Thibodeau to Lafayette, and with the full moon floating on the bow, Sadie sang a sweet duet. Well, her song is as old as the Calcasieu River or a juke joint out on the pier. and a swan will have a happy end. It seems that somebody lies and somebody dies, and the devil is their only friend. Well, that night at the Purple Peacock, their ending was a fairy tale scene. We see the blues man ran off with the Zydeco band, and Sadie's headed down to New Orleans. Well, it's a story that's old as the Calcasieu River or a juke joint out on the pier, where the bad boys carry a knife in their boot, and there's plenty of Dixie beer. When you come to the Crescent City, head on down to Jackson Square, then follow the sound of a sultry voice through an alley past the neon glare. The sign on the door will say, Sadie's Place. We don't serve Dixie beer. You see, the rich folks love her gumbo, but it's Sadie they've come to hear. Well, it's a story that's old as the Calcasieu River or a juke joint out on the pier, where the bad boys carry a knife in their boot, and there's plenty of Dixie beer. Well, Sister Sadie was a Cajun queen. Okay, well, here we go. That from Sister Sadie and the Saga of Dixie Beer, we moved to the mountains of West Virginia. No mention of beer here. We'll get back to that in a moment. And that, well, quite some time back, Cynthia and I were back around Grafton, West Virginia, crawling through dusty courthouses doing genealogical research on her family. And we ended up for lunch at a tavern outside, right around Grafton. And on the television, there was the story of unfolding of Somerset, Pennsylvania. A mine had collapsed and 9 miners were trapped. And it was, as we sat and watched the report of these 9 miners trapped below, the old miners, the retired miners that were there in the tavern as we were eating lunch, were all talking about how in 160 years nothing had really changed, that the greed of owners and various other problems in the mine, and of course the miners are the ones who pay the price. A few days later, we're back visiting with Cynthia's Uncle John, and he tells us the story about the man who drilled the rescue shaft that the miners were pulled out, and all 9 were safe, thank goodness. It turns out the man who drilled that rescue shaft was an old high school classmate of Uncle John, and that this classmate had been talking to him and sort of chuckling and say there was this news guy from Huntington who had asked him how much money he had been paid to drill that shaft, and he had looked at him and said, "We miners take care of our own." Brothers bound together by the dark earth, and blood spilled on a Union picket line, pale faces in a cracked and yellow picture, smiling from the entrance of a mine, connected by a slender thread of time. John Bratt's the name from Wolverhampton, England. The year is 1843. I made my way to Newburgh, West Virginia. These mountains offered opportunity. it's a miner's destiny. Sweet Isidide, birthing my great-grandson. 'Twas 1908, his name John Francis Bell. He could have worked the rails, he dreamed a farmer's life, but a miner's heart was the tale his fate would tell. It's a life he knew so well. We're brothers bound together by the dark earth, and blood spilled on a Union picket line. Pale faces in a cracked and yellow picture, smiling from the entrance of a mine, connected by a slender thread of time. By 14 years my John learned who to lean on. His blood and breath he gave to Rosedale coal. But when the black lung came, it was the Union paid. The suits and the politicians keep the gold, we miners keep our own. 160 years, not much changes. The headlines say 9 miners trapped below. In Somerset they heard survivors tapping out. Hope and sheer determination grow, every miner knows. We're brothers bound together by the dark earth, and blood spilled on a Union picket line. Pale faces in a cracked and yellow picture, smiling from the entrance of a mine, connected by a slender thread of time. Descended from the ancient Irish Danann, or the Anasazi's Spider-Woman's tale, we find our lives in places deep inside the earth. We free the dark seam from the hard rock shale. It's a dark and sooty trail. Lightning bugs are dancing on the hillside. I hear the soothing song of peddlers run. Evening shadows melt into a golden glow. The screech owls call, the miner spirits come. Our voices blend as one. We're brothers bound together by the dark earth, and blood spilled on a Union picket line. Pale faces in a cracked and yellow picture, smiling from the entrance of a mine, connected by 200 years of grind. Well, from the mines of West Virginia and Pennsylvania, let's head to the Houston Ship Channel. I lived for quite a while and worked hard on the shores of the San Jacinto River, right where it runs into the Houston Ship Channel, and my neighbors and the friends there in the neighborhood were, for the most part, journeyman pipe fitters and boiler makers and welders, and that they made their living doing the turnarounds and the shutdowns at the plants. And when they worked, they made good money, and they worked long days with no days off. And of course, then in between, there was no work. I also worked as a family therapist in that area, and watching the children struggle as they're growing up there as well. So, and a footnote, the references to Linebeck and Love and Monday, these are construction companies of the 70s and 80s and 90s along the ship channel. Tomorrow burning brightly as the flare stacks cross the bay. At night they burn like Christmas lights, but I wake up to the day. Child at the trailer door, another on the way. I feel my mouth a-moving, but there's nothing left to say. An ex-con barkeep Spider owns an ice house on White's Lake, where I fill my glass and ego with my brothers as we wait, and we talk about our wives and kids and wonder what went wrong, and listen to the lyrics of a real sad country song. Turnarounds and shutdowns, pawns in someone's game, a welding torch they bid for, then no one knows my name. A cog in Linebeck's giant wheel, or maybe Brown and Root, if not for Love or Monday, toolbox and steel-toed boots. We'll hit the road to Spiders and swallow back the fear by fighting over nothing and drinking Lone Star beer. Well, Daddy came in 42 to keep this country free. 8th grade education, sweat, and opportunity. His Dust Bowl dreams and childhood schemes of how his son would be led him to the main gate at the Shell refinery. Well, work was hard, but so was Dad. Oh, how my mama cried. The bottle, belt, and Bible, well, I know they really tried. His poor man's quest allowed no rest, although he promised time. Hidden cares in pink slip prayers, the promise proved a lie. Turnarounds and shutdowns, pawns in someone's game, a welding torch they bid for, then no one knows my name. A cog in Linebeck's giant wheel, or maybe Brown and Root, if not for Love or Monday, toolbox and steel-toed boots. We'll hit the road to Spiders and swallow back the fear by fighting over nothing and drinking Lone Star beer. Well, way too smart for college. Oh, the dirt track called my name. Dreams of speed and glory, fortune, money, fame. But dreams won't feed a wife and kids, so I anteed for Dad's game and found the promise growing strong and growing through my veins. So I feeded wild turkey Oh, and smoke it till it's done. The demon's face is smiling back from the muzzle of the gun. The flare stacks and the towers breathe away the sun. And that biker dude, he's standing up, and there's nowhere left to run. Turnarounds and shutdowns, pawns in someone's game, a welding torch they bid for, then no one knows my name. A cog in Lineback's giant wheel, or maybe Brown and Root, if not for Love or Monday, toolbox and steel-toed boots. We'll hit the road to spiders and swallow back the fear by fighting over nothing and drinking Lone Star beer. Dad's dream became my nightmare. Now I'm standing in the fire while another generation is balanced on the wire. My father tried to give me more, but I'm choking in the haze and see my children growing in a frightened, angry daze. Well, I can't get off this bar stool, though Spider says I'm done. It's way past 3, and seems to me I promised my young son a fishing trip, a swimming dip, a blazing camping fire. The promise still is unfulfilled. It's my turn to be the liar. Turnarounds and shutdowns, pawns in someone's game, a welding torch they bid for, then no one knows my name. A cog in Lineback's giant wheel, or maybe Brown and Root, if not for Love or Monday, toolbox and steel-toed boots. We'll hit the road to spiders and swallow back the fear by fighting over nothing and drinking Lone Star beer. Tomorrow burning brightly as the flare stacks cross the bay. Well, from the working class neighborhoods of East Harris County, heading to the Delta region up around Memphis, some great stories there. The biggest legend, you go to a crossroads at sunset and stand there, and a guy will come along and make you an offer for whatever it is you want bad enough, and you got to be careful. Robert Johnson tried that, got 12 great songs out of it, and well, it seems that might have been the devil. At least that's the way the story goes. So little supernatural isn't unusual up around Memphis. We played a couple of music festivals up there and met a couple that were wonderful folks and visited with them, and well, this is actually their story. Kelly was a waitress in a backstreet Memphis bar. She was cleaning up one rainy afternoon. Her long and a quarter summoned Robert Johnson's ghost. when a dark-eyed stranger stepped into the room, and his smile chased away the smoky gloom. There was magic in his flashing eyes, mystery in his laugh, his voice rich as a Beale Street saxophone, his touch as soft as the evening mist when the river's on the rise, or notes from Huddy's old 12-string guitar, two shadows cast by the light of a shooting star. Well, darkness closed around the man and his beat-up old valise, and a gunny sack he carried on his back. Kelly mumbled, "Welcome to the crossroads, have a drink." He smiled, "Make mine coffee, hot and black." Then he pulled a beat-up six-string from the sack. There was magic in his flashing eyes, mystery in his laugh, a voice rich as a Beale Street saxophone, his touch as soft as the evening mist when the river's on the rise, or notes from Huddy's old 12-string guitar, two shadows cast by the light of a shooting star. Their hands touched for a moment as Kelly passed the cup. He said, "My name is Paul, how do you do? I've traveled many a mile, there are many more to go. Your muse said I could stay for just a while and rest here in the cradle of your smile." Kelly sat down by the stage as Paul began to play. She closed her eyes and floated on the tune. He sang their lives together. He sang about the wheel. He sang a song of kids and joy, then cried. She remembered to forget the sands of time. Well, he drained his coffee to the dregs. Then Kelly took the cup. He whispered, "See you later," in her ear. He lifted up his cardboard suitcase, shouldered his guitar. The morning train sang out its sad refrain. Paul stepped out from the dark into the rain. There was magic in his flashing eyes, mystery in his laugh, his voice rich as a Beale Street saxophone, his touch as soft as the evening mist when the river's on the rise, or notes from Huddy's old 12-string guitar, two shadows cast by the light of a shooting star. Well, Kelly took the bar rag and wiped it across her eyes, then doused the flashing crossroads neon sign. She wondered, was it dream or real? Did he have a place in time? The mystery of that cup held in her hand, an hourglass without its shifting sands. There was magic in his flashing eyes, mystery in his laugh, his voice rich as a Beale Street saxophone, his touch as soft as the evening mist when the river's on the rise, or notes from Huddy's old 12-string guitar, two shadows cast by the light of a shooting star. on my travels far and wide and observing life, experiencing life, and the songs that came from these experiences, it became pretty evident that the cool stuff happened, both good and bad, when you least expect it, that life just came at us out of the blue. It hit me right out of the blue, hit me right out of the blue, walking along, minding my business, it hit me right out of the blue. For years I was a sad sack, sleeping out behind Dad's barn, puffing on a corn silk stogie, while dreaming I'm a movie star. Gina, Lola, Brigida was hanging right off of my arm, while we're flying in my Aston Martin. Then I wake back on the farm, but it hit me right out of the blue, hit me right out of the blue, walking along, minding my business, it hit me right out of the blue. So I hit the road to fame and fortune, guided by my shining stars, a student at the school of hard knocks and Dylan's old guitar. Tired, cold, and hungry, my hat my only home, my life so small and desperate, and feeling quite alone. But it hit me right out of the blue, hit me right out of the blue, walking along, minding my business, it hit me right out of the blue. I finally stopped my rambling and found my way back home, the prodigal son returning, defeated, empty, worn. Then it hit me right out of the blue, it hit me right out of the blue, walking along, minding my business, it hit me right out of the blue. Well, here I am an old man, I traveled out among the stars, my quest for truth and beauty, while finding mostly scars. Then I looked with new eyes, simplicity shines bright, the universe contained in one breath, an elemental sight. But it hit me right out of the blue, hit me right out of the blue, walking along, minding my business, it hit me right out of the blue, it hit me right out of the blue. It hit me right out of the blue. Well, when you least expect it, 16 years ago or so, we moved to Farmington, New Mexico from Houston. Farmington is a city right on the boundary with the Navajo Nation. It's called Totaw in Navajo, which is three rivers come together here. The San Juan, the Animas, and the La Plata, and they form one river and head on down, run into the Colorado, which then of course ends up in the Pacific. Was out walking a beautiful park here in Farmington, right along the banks of the Animas River, and I'm walking along and I look down, and in an eddy right on the edge of the river there in the water are two long stem red roses, and a song has to come out of that. river sang a joyful song, geese poised for winter's flight. Hand in hand the lovers strode, bathed in autumn light. Then something near the water's edge caught my wandering eye. Two long-stem roses blushing red beckoned like an aside. I wonder, were they set adrift, a lover's promise true? Hope the destination for this offering they threw. Carried on a current, cheered on by an azure sky. Two long-stem roses blushing red, their secrets safely hide. Their story a mystery floating at my feet. Questions with no answers, their meaning incomplete. Or were they thrown in anger, a lover's dark despair? Forgiveness now rejected, disappointment's awkward stare. The consequence of failure, too many tears were cried. Two long-stem roses blushing red, their secrets safely hide. Or was it just an accident that brought them to this place? A careless moment frozen in a mindless lack of grace. An omen of the future, I wondered as I spied. These long-stem roses blushing red, their secrets safely hide. Their story a mystery floating at my feet. Questions with no answers, their meaning incomplete. Or was it a young girl that set the petals free? Embraced by current's gentle hand, released their memory. Laid there at the altar of time's stream, the riverside. These long-stem roses blushing red, their secrets safely hide. From the Animas to the San Juan, then to the Colorado flow, the rivers carry stories, into consciousness they grow. From a trickle to a torrent, into ocean's surging tide. These long-stem roses blushing red, their secrets safely hide. Well, as we wrap it up here on the first set of Therein Lies the Tale, when I was a kid, we moved a lot. I love moving. I think my mom liked moving. My sister and brother, not so much. To me, it was an adventure, and I had it all worked out. I had a cardboard box that would fit under my bed, and everything that was important to me fit in that box. So Dad would come in and say, "Well, Charles, we're going to move." And I would grab the box, put all my stuff in the box. I'm ready to go. We'd get to wherever we were going, and we'd move in wherever we were moving in. I'd move into my room with my brother Phil, who I always say I shared with, and I would take that box, I'd put the stuff back out, put the box under the bed, and I was home. So caught between the rainbow and Dad's demons, our family searching for a place to call our own. Phil was sad and Wendy mad, but I could smile on. I had a world inside my head and dreams to roam, and a cardboard box of treasures held my home. Life inside the box seemed safe and simple. Everything I needed stored there underneath the bed. But with space for only one, it's dark and lonely. So the rainbow called my name and softly said, there's a world outside the box that's in your head. I grew up fast and left behind the dreamer. A wife and kids and mortgage filled my days, with bottle, church, and job running headlong through the fog. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Oh, the box has many faces, many names. Life inside the box seems safe and simple. Everything I needed stored there underneath the bed. But with space for only one, it's dark and lonely. So the rainbow called my name and softly said, hey Charlie, there's a world outside the box that's in your head. Dancing in the shadow with the demons, while naming fear and making friend a foe. Power, siren song, twisting right from what is wrong. But clarity is a curse that tyrants know. Yes, life outside the box demands we grow. Life inside the box seems safe and simple. Everything I needed stored there underneath the bed. But with space for only one, it's dark and lonely. So the rainbow called my name and softly said, hey Charlie, there's a world outside the box that's in your head. Traveling across the years, I have to smile at the places that the child's fear has led. I've broken many rules, I played the game with kings and fools, when the truth was always as that rainbow said. There's a world outside the box, comma, it's in your head. Life inside the box seems safe and simple. Everything I needed stored there underneath the bed. But with space for only one, it's dark and lonely. So the rainbow called my name and softly said, hey Charlie, there's a world outside the box, it's in your head.